Today we're going to look at how to write expressions from word descriptions. Nothing too tricky, we just have to make sure we're looking at the words in the problem. So here are some examples that we can look at. So letter A, says we need to write an expression that shows us 5 more than K. So we look at this word more, and hopefully we all recognize that that means addition. So if we're going to write the answer to A, we would write K plus 5. That answer is 5 more than K, which is what we've been asked for. For letter B, we've got less than, which you would recognize as subtraction. So 3 less than M, we would put M first and then subtract 3. When we look at C, again, the key word there is sum, which you should recognize as addition. So if we're going to add A and B, that's simply A plus B. When we're looking at D, we're going to write double the value of X. So I know that that is 2 times X. And in yesterday's lesson, we learned that we don't need to write the multiplication symbol, so we can just write 2X. And this is a good example of why we don't write the multiplication symbol. That could look messy if we were writing 2 times X. And the final one on this page is E, the product of C and D. So again, that's multiplication. So if you're thinking we could write it C times D, but we learnt yesterday that we're not going to show the multiplication symbol. If we just have those 2 letters next to each other, that means that they are multiplied. So for E, we would just write CD. Let's have a look at a few more examples. These ones involve more than one operation, so slightly more complicated, but still not too tricky. So for A, we're asked to think about if P is halved, then 4 is added. Yesterday in the lesson, we also talked about using division in this way with the fraction sign. So P being halved would be P divided by 2 and then adding 4. We don't need to put brackets around P divided by 2 because if we follow the BODMAS rules, which we still do, we know that we would do division before we do the addition anyway. So this part would be done first. B asks us to think of the sum of X and Y is taken and then divided by 7. So that then is really important. So we're going to find the sum of X and Y, and then we want to divide by 7. So we can put that over 7. We could put brackets here so that we know that the X and Y is done before the division, because usually with BODMAS we would do the division before the addition, but if we put it in brackets we know we do that part first. So it's really important to read the worded problems carefully and see what order you need to do things in. So that word then is actually really important in that problem. Letter C asks us to think about the sum of X and 1/7 of Y. So sum, again, we're going to add. So I get X and I want to add that to 1/7 of Y. So I can put Y over 7. You might also write that as X plus 1/7 of Y, remembering that there's an imaginary time symbol in between that 1/7 and the Y. And the last one we're going to look at is letter D. 5 is subtracted from K, and then the result is tripled. So we've got 5 subtracted from K first, so K minus 5, and then we want that result tripled. So if we want to times this by 3, the way that we would write that, as we saw yesterday, we can put the 3 outside of brackets and K minus 5. So that tells us we're going to do this part in the brackets first, the K minus 5, then that answer will be multiplied by 3 because we're following the BODMAS rules. All right, have fun with today's activity and feel free to email me if you need any help.